Well, good evening. How do you do? I'm Peter Alexievich, and this is the Live at 5 from Kyiv, coming to you from this major European capital that is currently under siege. This is, for me, it is just past midnight on Thursday, the 11th of December, which makes this the news and the events for Wednesday, the 10th of December, 2025, day 1386 of Russia's 3-day special military operation. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Robert Stewart K. Hey, Ted. There's Ted, everybody. Ted is the sponsor of tonight's live. Thank Ted, please. Hey, Chris. Hey, Bip. How is everybody doing? Thanks, Chelsea Perspective. Hey, Feisty. Hey, Alice. Hey, Mike Now. There's Space Ghost. Pravit. Who was that? Mike Kelly, I think. Hey, Space Ghost. Hey, Mike Now. Hey, G2. Hey, Flying Sunbeams. Brian Cornbow. Nice to see you. Hey, Bernard. Hey, Chef Deb. No power again, Mike Kelly. Today I had power for 7 hours. For 7 hours. Yeah. It's I'm not in a trench. Nobody's shooting at me. Well, not right now. Hey, Nightshade. Hey, Roy Daniels. How's everybody doing tonight? Hey, Bernard. Hey, Joe. Joe is nominating me for the Taylor Ham Award, which is what it is. It's a Taylor ham, egg and cheese, not a pork roll. That's a generic noob mistake when you are in the Garden State. Hey, Truthful. Hey, Dan Bormad. Hey, Scully. Ooh, do I appear ghostly? Do I appear ghostly? Ooh. I can't have a generator. I'm in an apartment. You know, it's not safe. It's not clean enough to put on the balcony. It's not. Hey, Van, my man. How you living, brother? I made a video tonight with your name on it. Did you see it? Hey, Debbie. I do look ghostly. Maybe I should tell a ghost story, huh? Once upon a time in the faraway land of St. Petersburg was born a bald baby who would never grow more than 5'2", and his he would grow up to be the worst person on the planet. Hey, Refurb Man. Once upon a time in Manhattan was born a little orange baby. Ugh. Joe Rogan. What about Joe Rogan? I don't ever think about Joe Rogan. I mean, I know he's a thing, and he's a pretty smart guy, or at least he's a curious fella. But boy, he really says some dumb things. Hey, Seawolf. You ain't wrong, Nightshade. Trump is threatening The Hague with sanctions if they prosecute him. He should be prosecuted. He should. If we can't do it, which we seem unable to, somebody's got to. The U.S. should join the ICC. You know, it was Henry Kissinger and his bullshit that kept us out of it. I said bald. Yeah, I also said born in St. Petersburg. I don't think Joe Rogan was born in St. Petersburg. It is dark again, Big D. It sure is. Did you see the fire in St. Petersburg? I did. Did you, Roy? I don't remember. I get a lot of videos. The fire in St. Petersburg. There is no reason to believe that that fire has anything to do with Ukrainian drone activity. There are no reports of drones in the area at the time. It appears to simply be a fire. Now, could it be, probably, if it's anybody, it's some imported labor that the Russians have been taking advantage of badly, as they always do. Just like when they burned down the Wildberries warehouse because they were being treated so badly, they decided to burn down the marketplace. It's some kind of a big, like indoor-outdoor mall kind of place, bazaar kind of place, I guess. I'm not sure exactly, but that was the impression that I had. And it's huge, Seawolf. I mean, the fire is blocks and blocks and blocks long, and it's just right in town, and the flames are just, shooting 100 meters in the air, like 300 feet in the air. It's a big fire. But it doesn't have anything to do, to the best of my knowledge, with any Ukrainian activity. Smiley, I think you're right. I think that is the answer, to keep striking the Russian shadow fleet. And we saw another example of that today. The tanker Dashan was struck, and it is amazing. If you look at where it was struck, right? You guys know, like so many miles off the coast, I think it's 5 kilometers or 5 miles, something like that. That's your territorial waters. And then farther off the coast is what they call your economic exclusion zone. Your country is in control of that water, and it's yours exclusively to fish in and to exploit economically. Well, the Turks complained when the Ukrainians struck those tankers in Turkish territorial waters, or in the Turkish exclusion zone. The tanker that was hit today, I swear to God, if you look at it on the map, right, the Black Sea is divided into exclusion zones, Turkey and Ukraine, right in the middle of the Black Sea. And the boat is just over the line into the Ukrainian economic exclusive zone waters, where it is burning. And I guess this one was really badly damaged. I don't know that it's sunk, but it is very, very badly damaged. It's dark because I'm in Kyiv, brother. I only had power 7 hours today. Now, this question of hitting the Shadow Fleet tankers, this is immediately having a profound effect on business for the Russians. The last satellite image that I saw from Novorossiysk, there was not a single tanker at the dock loading up fuel. People are worried. The people who own these tankers, who do this logistics business, are worried that their tankers are going to get blown up. In fact, we already know about at least one company that has pulled all 15 of its tankers out of the business of transacting Russian oil. There are maybe 500 of these tankers in the Shadow Fleet. If Russia loses just half of them, 250, because their owners are afraid of them getting blowed up, or they simply can't get insurance anymore to come into the Black Sea. As one economist wrote in Rozmaia Gazetia last week, the insurers will be the death of our business, because you're not going to be able to get these tankers insured. Insurance rates have already tripled since this happened, making the costs of Russian oil at a time when the price of Russian oil is falling exorbitant. absolutely exorbitant. So tough play there. And it's exactly what Ukraine needs to do, I think. I think you're absolutely right, Smiley. Any information about the dam? You're talking about that dam that was hit. The Russians hit it with a missile. They blew the top of it. You can't drive over it anymore. It's someplace in the east. I forget. It's not a particularly strategic asset, nor is it a particularly large reservoir. It's not like with Novakhovka, where if it was blown, you'd have an environmental disaster of unprecedented proportions. It's not like that. So I haven't heard anything other than you can't cross vehicles over it at this time. A congressman is trying to push a bill to get the U.S. out of NATO. Yep, that's where we're at. We're in a world where the people in charge of the United States government have no interest in United States security or our future as a world leader, and are doing everything they can to take our position in the world away from us. These people are openly acting against the interests of the United States. That's what it is to want to leave NATO. That is not a reasonable position to take. It's insane. India is still refining 2.1 million barrels of oil out of 4 million barrels of seaborne crude. That is not correct, Smiley. Well, it may be correct that they're still refining 2.1 million barrels a day. That might be true. Here's why. But it's not true that that's what they're buying. So the purchase of Russian oil, as I understand it, hit its peak in August, where they were buying about 2.1 million barrels a day. That fell by 25% in October to 1.5 million barrels a day. It's a big hit. Then it creeped up in November, at least for the first 3 weeks. From the 1st of November till the 21st of November, it was an average of 185,000 barrels a day. A day. 185,000 barrels a day. It's a lot of fucking oil. Why did that go to the 21st? Because the 21st of November was when the Rosneft and Lukoil sanctions kicked in, right? So what we saw those first 3 weeks of November was a stockpiling. The Indians, right? Look, it's been like the Wild West for the Indians. They've been able to get all this cheap crude and make all this money selling gasoline to Europe as Indian gasoline made from Russian crude. They've been making, like from what I hear, they've been just making money hand over fist. However, it is important to recognize that as soon as November 22nd hit and the Rosneft and Lukoil sanctions went into effect, the purchase of Russian crude dropped in India to 660,000 barrels a day, 1/3 of what it had been for all of November up until the 21st. So it is incorrect to say that India is still buying 2.1 million barrels a day. That is not accurate. It's less than 1/3 of that now. I don't know. That doesn't seem right at all, Smiley. Smiley, I'm starting to think you're a source of real misinformation. It's just past midnight, Lev. Yeah, that 0% U.S. tariff, I don't know that to be true. How could any country trust America anymore when elections are every 4 years? the U.S. leaves NATO, that could mean a hard border with Canada. Canada should get ready for Trump to invade. Trump has openly said it. And he is of the same imperialist mindset as Putin. If we don't have a midterm elections this year, or within the year, if he somehow manages to stop that, then Canada should start fortifying the border. They definitely should, because he's insane. And worst of all, we have Americans, from admirals all the way down to gunners, who are happy, apparently, to carry out an illegal order because they blew those guys in the water out of the water when they were done and should have been taken as prisoners, in complete violation of all international laws and standards, as well as the Uniform Code of Conduct. So no, this administration cannot be trusted. All right, yeah, Ron, we heard you the first time and ignored you that time too. Dems won in Georgia and Florida yesterday. Yep. Miami got a new mayor. If the U.S. leaves NATO and invades Canada, the U.S. could be at war with NATO. Correct. That's what's coming, right? Like, that's why it's so important for Trump and Putin to fracture NATO, so that there is that key to their imperialist expansion ambitions is not available, right? It's the big squeeze. It's Trump coming at Europe from North America, Putin coming at Europe from the East. It's the big squeeze between these two insane, deluded autocrats. Are you a judge? I am discerning. Unfortunately, a worrisome majority of Canada lives below U.S. mainland north border. Right, the entire population of Canada is right on the border. It's all, after that, it's all fucking tundra. Anthony, I am your father. And Hegsnot is reviewing the video, so brother. That's like a Florida Sheriff's Department doing its own internal investigation. There is hope. I mean, a lot of doctors are saying that Trump's in like bad physical shape. And they've talked about what treatments they think he's getting and how bad it is. Can EU ally with China? I think that's a huge mistake. China's, I mean, you got Xi Jinping, Vladimir Putin, and Donald Trump. And they all think they're masters of the universe and destined to rule the world. And right now, it looks to me like the three of them have decided, Donald, you'll get the Americas, I take Europe, Xi gets Asia. Okay? Good plan? Let's go. That's what it looks like to me. Yeah, DW, the power's off again. I thought Trump was super fit. Oh, Paul, I'm so sorry. I didn't know you were blind. No, look, I'm not saying that they can pull it off. You know, I don't think they can, but I do think that's how they think. U.S. seized an oil tanker off the coast of Venezuela. Oh, great. He takes the hardest tests and aces them. You mean the test for dementia? Robbed of the Nobel Fitness Prize. Supersized is more like it, just like his venous insufficiency. That's a brain workout, only for the worm, Feisty. Only for the worm. The tail that wags the dog. On the subject of bullshit from people in power, I would like to review with you, if I may, some, like in a very strong field of outright lies and superlative bullshit that we have heard from Vladimir Putin. I'll tell you, he is not slacking this December. Not in the least. In just the last 10 days, we have seen a number of extraordinarily delusional statements come from this fucking guy. No, Mike, he gave himself an A++++++, is what he gave himself. So Putin ordered from the pulpit, right at the news conference, he ordered the army from the pulpit to create a security zone along the northern front in Ukraine. I will remind everybody that in 2023, he ordered the creation of a sanitary zone, which the Russian army failed to give him. In 2024, he rebranded it a buffer zone and ordered the creation of a buffer zone along the northern front, which again, the Ukrainian army foiled all his efforts to create. And now in 2025, he's ordering the creation of a security zone, which apparently is the rebranded buffer zone, which was the rebranded sanitary zone. And he's ordering the same action despite the fact that his army has failed to deliver it for the last 2 years. 3 years now. 3 years. He said that if Ukraine keeps hitting tankers, he's going to seal off the sea, deny them the sea. Really? Because you tried to do that in 2023, right? First there was a 1-year grain corridor deal. Then you broke that and said that you were going to shut down the shipping lanes. And instead what happened was you lost control of 44,000 square kilometers of the Northwest Black Sea. And Ukrainian port business rebounded to almost what it was before the full-scale invasion. And all of that, you failed to do all of that back before Ukraine, a country without really a navy, sent half the tonnage of the Black Sea fleet down to the bottom of the Black Sea to become coral reef starter kits. He threatened to open 2 new fronts. Hey, Maria Holm. He threatened to open 2 new fronts in Ukraine. He already has. I want to make this clear. He already poured a bunch of men and machines into Zaporizhia, about 40,000 men down there, Zaporizhia, and a bunch of men into Vovchansk to push them forward in Vovchansk. To date, both of those advances are failures. They've made a little progress in Vovchansk, but Vovchansk is just a name on a map now. It's ruins. You've got Russians hiding in basements like rats, trying to avoid the drones, and no cohesive garrison or ability to coordinate advances. It's a bad scene in Vovchansk for the Russians. Now, so he says all of these things, insisting, and he's got a new deadline for Donetsk as well. He's told his army to take Donetsk by February 16th. I want to say the 16th, maybe the 26th, somewhere in late February. It has taken them 21 months to get from Avdiivka to Pokrovsk, and they still don't have Pokrovsk. On the subject of Pokrovsk, I know a lot of you want to know what's happening in Pokrovsk. It's very difficult to say. The fog of war is very thick. So I don't want to overstate it. However, according to the Ukrainians, they have retaken 13 square kilometers of Pokrovsk, which is only a 29 square kilometer town. So they feel that they are reporting that they have stopped the Russians at the railroad tracks. So about halfway through the town of Pokrovsk, with the northern part of Pokrovsk in Ukrainian control and the southern part in Russian control. To fully encircle Pokrovsk, you have to come from the north, right? From the northeast side. Well, up there, the Ukrainians are just destroying the Russians. I mean, if you look at the Telegram channel for Magyar's birds, the video footage from that region is, and I don't recommend that you do this, by the way, because it's really very disturbing. It's very disturbing. In one of the videos, there's maybe a 100-meter line of tank trap, right? That's a big, deep ditch that tanks can't get through easily. It's not 100 meters. It's not a football field, an American football field. And I counted 32 bodies in there. There's video on Parapax, the Telegram channel, of 2 Russian soldiers walking through the fog there in the Dobropila section. And every few meters on the path, there's another Russian body. It's just one after another. I mean, it really does appear that the Russians are just pouring men in, and the Ukrainians just keep shooting them until they run out of bullets. It's awful. It's a nightmare. I cannot even imagine. So the fog of war hangs thick on Pokrovsk, but Pokrovsk is not fallen. Don't listen to anybody who says it's fallen. Will it fall? Probably. The Ukrainians claim the Russians have 155,000 troops there to support that effort. So probably it's going to fall, yes. When is anybody's guess. Sabotage units have been trying to infiltrate from Transnistria. That is the first I am hearing of that. The border guards are going to be busy out there. You just know if Ukraine had the support from the start, this would be a different situation. You ain't kidding, Anthony. That's not happening. What's not happening, Valley Guy? Yeah, see, Smiley, there you go again. You're mentioning Jeff Sachs. The only people that ever mention Jeff Sachs are trolls, paid by Russia. So you might want to claim to be a journalist, but everything that you are saying sounds very Kremlin talking point, boy. You stink of the Kremlin. Why don't Russian soldiers see the uninevitability of their defeat by now? I don't know, man. I mean, it could be the guy behind them with the gun who says if they don't go fight, they'll shoot them. Could be that. Hey, Vittoria. Buonasera. Another 20 Republican reps rumored to retire soon, Mike Johnson. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Could be out by February. Oh, let's hope so. Because he is really the worst. Big Stevie, what's the latest on losses for the Russians? I gave up looking at 1 million. Russia is on track right now, Big Stevie, to hit 1.2 million KIA, WIA, probably about the first of the year, a little bit after. Smiley is from Namibia. No, leave him alone. Leave him be. But yeah, no, he's on the clock. Look, he hasn't responded, right? He's not offended. He can't be offended. He's got to consult his script to see what he's supposed to say next. Smiley, I've read those scripts. I know. Do you want me to tell you what to say next? Do you want me to tell you what your next line is? How you're supposed to deflect me from this subject? You must be new, kid. Did they send you in here like on purpose? The USA should help. It's a sad and depressing situation. Look, we all have to come to terms with the fact that the United States of America is in an active coup by a malign foreign power. That's where we're at. As soon as you accept that as reality, everything he does makes sense. That is an insane amount of people. Hey, Guard. Nice to see you, pal. Hey, Courtney Davis. I can see them now. I can see it, right? Like there's a telemarketing office kind of set up. Only it's a troll setup. So instead of veal fattening pens, everybody has their desk in front of them, and there's 200 cell phones on like a shelf in front of you, and your bot accounts can post to 200 different things, the same cut and pasted thing. But for lives, you have to send a person in, right? So I can see them in Namibia, all around the poor new kids, poor Smiley. And they're laughing at him and slapping him on the back and talking about how he got found out so fast. But yada, yada, yada. Yeah, shout out to the boys in the troll farm. Everybody's got to feed their family. I get it, boys. But seriously, you could do better. You could do better than getting paid to spread filthy Russian lies in the world. Can Congress pass an aid bill without the orange pumpkin approval? Ivan, here's the problem. Trump can't do half the shit he's doing without congressional approval, but Congress is just rolling over and letting him do what he wants. He's not supposed to pass tariffs. That's Congress's job. Right? Where is it? It's in this Article 2 of the Constitution. It is the responsibility of Congress to levy taxes. Well, tariffs are taxes on the American people. The only people that are supposed to implement them are Congress. So he does not give a fuck about what Congress is supposed to do or not. And he is going to thwart their will until they assert their congressional powers. And that's not going to happen until Mike Johnson is gone. Now, in terms of aid to Ukraine, the Congress is about to pass a bill that includes $400 million in aid to Ukraine. Nothing, right? It's a rounding error for the Pentagon. But there is something very important in this bill for Ukraine. This bill enshrines in law that the United States will continue to provide intelligence sharing. The United States it enshrines in law that the United States will continue intelligence sharing with Ukraine. That means that Trump can no longer threaten Ukraine. Do what I want or I'll take away your intelligence sharing. That is an important codicil of this defense appropriations bill. And that's important, in my opinion. That's probably the most important thing in there. Will Smiley get paid? Smiley is as fake as a Rolex from a Turkish bazaar. Smiley. And he's probably called Smiley because he's a nice kid, right? Like, he's probably got a big smile. Oh, well. If he sticks in this business, his life is over. He's doomed. You never recover from this. America is stuck in a season of 24. Yeah. And the bomb is behind the White House desk. The Supreme Court is corrupt, Mike Kelly. You are not kidding. Vote out MAGA in the midterms. Let's hope there's midterms. Hey, Fred, I'm in Kyiv. I only had power 7 hours today. Every tariff Trump has put on is illegal. Exactly, Guard. MAGA are insufferable for a reality check in the midterms. Let's hope so. He gave the farmers a bailout, then threatened to tariff potash heavily. Yeah, and Feisty, it is important to recognize that the bailout money is not going to go to American farmers. It's going to go to American agribusiness. American family farms are still going to see record bankruptcies this year. And J.D. Vance and his, what's the name of the company? Somebody knows it. Land Acres or Acres Land or Acres, Green Acres, some shit. That's a company that specializes in buying distressed farmland at pennies on the dollar. So J.D. Vance is going to make a fortune off the misery and bankruptcies of dozens of American families, if not hundreds of American family farms, because of the tariff that his boss put in place. Yeah, the power is out. I don't know the bill number, no. Chef Deb was cooking. Were you making anything good? Would they be able to trust said intelligence, though? That's a great question. It's a great question. He's probably got Turkish teeth. What? Is that a thing? Do people go to Turkey for dentistry work? I know they go for hair plugs. I think that's where Elon got his done. The UK stopped sharing intelligence with the USA. So did the Netherlands, Ryan. It's a real bad sign when your closest allies don't trust you because they give you intelligence and the next thing you know, the Kremlin's got it. What does that say? This is why we are in a coup. The internet is more stable without light. Probably, Seawolf, that's true because, I have a very special setup here so that I have internet during these blackout times. Very few Ukrainians have this or even are aware that you can do this. Plus, it costs a couple bucks. Dutch Cossack paid for me. And I remain very grateful to that. Like 2 years later, I'm still telling people, if it wasn't for Dutch Cossack, I wouldn't have internet during blackouts. And it's been invaluable. So I remain very grateful for that. So there are many fewer people on it right now. We buy potash from Russia. Yeah, Russia sells a lot of potash. Dems will need to expand the Supreme Court to 13 to match the quantity of districts. Acre Trader. Thank you, Buckeye Girl. Acre Trader. Ugh, what a terrible name. Like, it even sounds like, ooh, like, we're the bad guys. Acre Trader's here. You having trouble with your mortgage, ma'am? Let me help you out. I don't understand why we can't impeach the Trump-appointed judges. Like, that should be a thing that we should be able to do. Especially in the case of, what's his name? The drunk rapist. No, not that one, the other one. Why can't I think of his name? Kavanaugh. Especially in his case, especially in Clarence Thomas's case. I mean, these people have openly committed fraud. I think that that's true, too, of Amy Coney Barrett, who lied under oath during her Senate hearings. There has to be accountability for these people. South Korea won't even sell Ukraine weapons, let alone send troops. So none of that is going to happen. Green Acres is the place to be because farm living is the life for me. Not that I'm aware of, Clive. I'm not aware of any strike on a hospital in Kyiv today. But that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. I'm just not aware of it. Nobody is sending troops to Ukraine. That's not going to happen. The Italians just made a point of saying that it's not going to happen. Chicken quesadillas. Oh, man, I would love a chicken quesadilla right now. Hey, Maddie. There is a foreign legion, but that's not foreign troops, right? Those are foreigners who have joined the local army. The U.S. purchase of potash from Canada is over 90%. What does that mean, Maddie? Over 90% of Canadian exported potash goes to the U.S., or the U.S. buys 90% of its potash from Canada? I didn't understand that. The Pentagon has largely cut off communication with the German intelligence service, too. Ugh. All of that seems highly unlikely, Roy Daniels. The blue tsunami. I mean, look, if the Democrats weren't largely complicit in this thing, we wouldn't be in this situation. That's what worries me, is that people still think that just voting blue is enough. It's not. I mean, look, the Democrats, after forcing the closure of the government in order to save us all our health care, turned at the last minute and gave it all away and made all of those sacrifices pointless. Talk about gripping defeat out of the jaws of victory. The U.S. buys 90% from Canada. Got it. I know these potash facts. Potash facts. Senate gas to convict after impeachment. Oh, Senate has to convict after impeachment anyway, yeah. If you get to vote, that's the thing. That's what I'm worried about. Thanks, Truth Hurts. So, Ronnie, that is a great question. Ronnie says, will Ukraine get low on troops next year? And then Babe asks, can Ukraine still win and how? Ukraine can definitely still win. I think Ukraine, I mean, if the United States doesn't sabotage it by bullying or extorting Ukraine into some kind of a capitulation, yes, absolutely they can win. Now, on the subject of how low Ukraine really is on troops, I don't know what the reality is. Because what we hear all the time is that Ukraine is running out of troops, Ukraine doesn't have any troops, Ukraine doesn't have enough troops, yada, yada, right? Then why haven't they lowered the draft age below 25? Why did they just open up foreign travel to 18 to 22-year-old men and let 655,000 Ukrainian men leave the country? If they're so starved for troops, why aren't their policies different? And I don't have an answer, right? To me, it doesn't make sense. There is a disconnect between what we're being told and the actions that the government are taking here. If they're so short on men, why is it that they are recruiting about 3 times as many men every month as the Russians are, with about 30,000 new recruits coming into the Ukrainian army every single month? Are they really low on troops? And Ronnie, the short answer is I don't know. I don't know. Given the progress on the battlefield, or given the lack of progress that the Russians are able to make, I really have to question just how low on troops the Ukrainians are. They filed impeachment charges on RFK Jr. Thank God, maybe this will be the beginning of sanity returning to the United States. That would be great. No, Feisty, I don't have any updates on Chernobyl. I'm sorry. I don't even have more detail. I meant to look at it today, but I had some challenges today. Well, Guard, I didn't say that they're not short on troops. Everybody says they are. I just question how short on troops could they be given the actions that they are taking, right? Like I'm more asking a question than making a statement. If I wasn't clear on that, I apologize. They could definitely use a lot more equipment. That is true. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes left before we do the final question and answer. Let me just, again, thank the sponsor of tonight's live, Ted Greenow. Appreciate you, Ted. Thank you very much. Let me also thank Kurian and Weibo, who yesterday totally funded the Christmas party, which I appreciate because that was an unexpected cost I didn't expect to incur. So big thanks to Weibo and Kurian for that. Big thanks to Lars, who has the Discord server, Nightshade, who has the Peter's Peeps group on the Book of Faces, and of course the best moderators on the Tickety Talk, Roy, Travis, Maddie, and Feisty. Thank you all very much. And with that, we got about 9 minutes left. Questions, comments. In TV here, they said the Russian banks are collapsing. I think that that's being overstated right now. I haven't seen. I mean, look, there is a Russian bank collapse coming. I definitely believe that that's the case. And there may. Oh, you know what I bet you saw, Victoria? There was one Russian bank. They've been having trouble since 2022. And now I guess it's finally coming to a head. If I'm not mistaken, I bet this is what you saw. And now it's finally coming to a head. But they've been in trouble for years. They are unrelated to the cash liquidity crisis and bond collapse crisis that I believe is coming. And that will see a kind of domino effect of bank failures in Russia. But I don't think we're there yet. I think that what you're seeing is a report about a very specific bank that has had documented problems for about 3-4 years. And it's all finally coming to a head for them. Now, that bank that was in trouble, if the crisis is coming down the road for all banks, then a bank that was already in trouble before the crisis emerges could be seen as a bellwether, right? A canary in the coal mine. And so this is the first in a series of dominoes. But I don't think we're on the verge of a scaled collapse. It does not appear that way to me. Although okay. Yes, Victoria. Yes, that's the one. Okay, great. Thank you. I wish the recording included your comments. It really bothers me that we have all this great back and forth and dialogue that is often, like when the power is out, I didn't write anything down today because I can't read it. Yeah. So I wish, it doesn't matter. Hey, Belt Bat, how you doing, buddy? Feature request you know all about you. How is Ukraine supposed to gain the upper hand in this fight? I don't know what you're talking about. Ukraine has the upper hand in this fight. Ukraine has the upper hand in this fight. The Ukrainian economy is not in the state that the Russian economy is in. The Ukrainians haven't burned through 80 years worth of Soviet stockpiled equipment and weapons in just 4 years, and now are scraping the bottom of the barrel. The Ukrainians remain united in their absolute commitment to never again live under the yoke of Russian oppression, while the Russians can't figure out what they're fighting for. No, I don't believe that anybody has the upper hand other than Ukraine. The latest sanctions against Lukoil are certainly working. They're working far faster and far more effectively than I ever imagined they could. Yeah, Clive, I agree. The Ukrainian army are far more advanced in combat duty. That's probably why they are keeping the Russians at bay. I could not agree more. You're welcome, Coffin. Russians still have donkeys. Well, the ones they haven't eaten. That's another big thing. Truth hurts, right? Ukraine cares about troop losses. That is not the case for the Russians. They lost a camel. There was a camel rescued by the Ukrainians. This is true. Putin's war camel. Ian from Scotland supports you. Thanks, Ian. Why is the US accept an idiot in office? Because we're not smart. Because we're easily fooled. We're dumb. We're hateful. And he gave us permission to be our worst selves. And that can be very appealing to some people. We are living in a world. The thing about the world, the thing that nobody ever says is that living in this world of the internet means that we are all living in a world that no one has ever lived in before. The same path to success that was a path for my father, right? And you would think, historically, looking at the human race, older people had more knowledge than younger people. Older people knew more about the world than younger people. And so you could listen to your elders and find wisdom, find a path to success in the world. But in this new world, nobody's lived in this world before. Nobody knows what a path to success is. The old pathways are breaking down. They're not even paths to success anymore. You look at a kid like Adam Mockler, who's like 22 years old, and he just made a career for himself by getting online and telling the truth to the best of his ability. He's an extraordinary young man. Jesse Wells. Jesse Wells, is that his name? The guitar singing Bob Dylan type. Same thing. Brilliant. Things are upside down, Little Red. And then, Anthony, that's the other problem, right? Your grandfather told you about Russia 25 years ago, and he was so right. The problem is today the kids hear you say Russia's so bad, but they have all their friends on TikTok who are Russian. And their lives seem so nice and good. And the genocide Russia commits is not in front of their faces. They don't get to see that. So they think the Russian kids are just like them, listening to rock and roll in St. Petersburg, baby. Living in the upside down. Yeah. Well, Maddie, I mean, in point of fact, it was 231 million Americans who didn't vote for Donald Trump. Now, many of them didn't vote, but they didn't vote for Donald Trump either. That's a big problem in the United States, is that a participatory democracy requires participation. And too many people stay home. And that doesn't work. That does not work. If I had to say what the worst complicity of the Democrats has been in all of this since Reagan, is by putting up candidates that they thought could beat the Republican presidential candidate. And that meant moving the whole country further and further right every election cycle for the last 45 years. And it has failed. Because as Americans, we can't just have something to vote against. We have to have something to vote for. You get fined in Australia if you don't vote. See, Paul, we should do that. Thanks, Ian, UK. All right, kids, it's 1 a.m. here in beautiful uptown Kyiv. With the power out, I am not going to be able to upload tonight's live until the power comes back on. So that'll get uploaded as soon as I can. Again, big thanks to Kurian and Weibo, who sponsored the Christmas party. Big thanks to, oh God, my mind just drew a blank. I've been saying it all night. Ted Greenow, my buddy Ted Greenow, who is the sponsor of tonight's live. Thank you, Ted. Big thanks to Lars, who has the Discord server, Nightshade, who has the Peters Peeps group, and of course to the best moderator team on the Tickety Talk. I think it's going to be a quiet night. There were only 80 drones last night. I think we're in a saving them up phase, a stockpiling phase, and then maybe over the weekend we'll see another big one. We'll see another big one. There's another big one coming, I'm sure. Sure of that. Yep, lull before the storm. Also, I definitely think that Putin is planning to do something really evil in the Black Sea over this tanker business. Because think about it, I mean, if the Ukrainians shut down the Black Sea ports, I mean, that's what? That's like 32% of all Russian crude exports. That's 1,000,000 barrels of oil a day more. That's huge, huge. So Putin's going to do something about it. And it's going to be something really evil. Drew, I thought that was a Venezuelan tanker. Am I wrong about that? I thought that was a Venezuelan tanker. All right. Well, I'll try to check it out for tomorrow. All right, everybody. Make it a great day. And have a pleasant tomorrow. Take care.